Hi, this is my Google Classroom I created for this 8th grade math standard, proportional relationships, lines, and linear equations. I'm looking for collaborators. I'm a teacher without a classroom, but I'm still looking to see this technique or this method that I used last year. If you believe state testing results, then it was pretty effective, right? And what I'd like to do is just go through it and explain it quickly, just give a brief overview of how it works, and hope that I can get another teacher to implement it in his or her classroom, and fingers crossed we can collect some data or come up with a better way of collecting some data. There's a few rough edges that need to be sanded down. Well, with that being said though, let's go ahead and take a look at it right here. So I've got a welcome, and basically all it says is this is how we're going to complete this project. Everything's going to be right here that deals with the domino effect. Alright, so all these assignments will be self-contained. You don't have to look anywhere else to find the grades that I'm going to give you. And like I say, I grade half on Khan Academy and half on the work that you'll turn into me on this Google Classroom, in this Google Classroom, and we'll have some good times hashing out some of the more difficult. I put a little video down here for you to watch to see a pretty cool domino trick, and I think it'd be fun if students could go out and find some similar videos and post them up here, and we can take a minute and maybe pick out one for every day while we're on this lesson and check it out, or just leave it out there and students can watch it whenever. Anyway, where to go through from here? Okay, so once again, before I go any further, I just want to talk about how these mathlicious.com lessons work, or the way that I've been using them. They kind of serve as the major projects that I do in class, the learning experiences, so to speak, that we put together that hopefully allow students to see mathematics more of a tool to actually do stuff as opposed to like a problem in and of itself, right? So here's the beginning lesson, the one that we're working on. The very next Google Classroom that I'm going to create is going to be crop and trade. And once I parse it out, add the lessons, tie everything together, and then we'll end with not so fast. And all these will look a lot. I think what's going to happen is as we get through these, or as students or as teachers become more adept at making sure students get to some sort of finishing point or checking understanding to where you can get, I don't know, maybe 80% of the class to do well or to pass their pre-test or post-test with favorable or decent results, then these will go faster and faster. But these are research-based. They work. Kids like them, and they allow you to incorporate. We could talk about science. We could talk about civics and ethics. We can talk about all kinds of things just looking at these as we go through it. So enough about that. Let's get back up here to my searchable database. These four things kind of make up the crux of or the backbone of my lesson planning. Every day we should have, or always, maybe not every day, but pretty close to it, there should be an essential question students can work on. I don't want them to cut and paste, obviously. I want them to write their own stuff in there as become, if they don't know what it means to be a function, to be linear, or they can just copy someone else's, just put it in your own handwriting, right? And as we go through these essential questions, it'll be fun to kind of compare, like, maybe this is one we take on this particular date, and then like 3 or 4 days later, we put the same one up, and we see how those responses have changed. Forms. Everybody loves a little qualitative, and everybody loves a little quantitative data. This would be a great place to do a pretty comprehensive data check, since this is the beginning of the lesson. Then maybe when we get done with the third lesson in the series, to do a post-test and see if any of this stuff worked, right? Based on some things that I've seen. We'll just leave that for now. Let's see, we're at 5 minutes, so let's quick look at Khan Academy. Hello, Khan Academy. Thanks for doing all the heavy lifting. let your students take off in here. Lots of them are going to enjoy getting the points. A lot of them are going to enjoy just being able to work independently and not have to listen to my voice. A lot of times in class, I'll tell students if what I'm telling them is something they already know, then to go, please go work in Khan Academy and practice on something you don't know, right? If you understand it, why do you need to sit there and listen to me go over it? You don't. Play pause it. Here's a little security check for teachers. Sometimes you're like, gosh, are they even doing anything? Well, Play Pause it's a super awesome website. I highly suggest using it because it gives you a chance to see if students understand the material within the lesson or within the video, and they just let you know if they even watched it, right? A lot of students will just keep plugging and playing. Not necessarily, they just want to be done with the exercise. They just want to check off things, so they're not really trying to learn. So this kind of forces them to go through the process of watching the video, maybe taking some notes and answering questions as they go throughout. Basically, it helps them to think a little more critically than probably they would on their own. Once again, we don't have to teach algorithms anymore. So for the rest of your class, whether it's 30 minutes or 45 minutes or even 15 minutes, you can use it to push these Mathalicious lessons and to practice with them, because they're not easy, right? You throw some information out there, they're coming back with responses. But within the slides, this is where most of the magic happens. Some of the magic. I don't know yet. It's still kind of experimenting with the way it's all going to fall out. Come on, Wi-Fi. There we go. Okay, so this is just your assignment. They're going to make a copy of these slides. Everybody's going to do whatever they want. They can add their own media. They can switch the theme. They're going to rename it so they can turn it into me so I can begin to give them some qualitative feedback. I can say, hey, this is what you did wrong. This is what you did right. You're doing really good, etc. ad nauseum. I've got the same goals that are posted on the mat. I just cut them and pasted them right here. Here's some standards and practices lines up with 8th grade Common Core stuff. Right? Talks a little bit about mathematical practices. I'm sure everyone's tired of hearing about those by now. All right? The first 15 minutes, what's that say? At least give them 15 minutes. And make sure, let's see. Come on now. Alright, so this is just a note to the teacher before we're getting in. These are hard to get used to because you're just kind of letting them make mistakes, and probably if you're like me, maybe you make a few mistakes. You do get your teacher's edition with the answer key or whatever. And I highly recommend that you go through these lessons pretty rigorously before you just sling them out there. But always keep in mind, if you model not knowing at first and then going through the process of trying different things and making mistakes, that's really what we're trying to teach here. At least that's what I would like to think we're trying to teach here. The rest of the slides just basically cut out the questions, and they give them chances to show their work, and all the while you can go over here and say, well, if you had done this, you could have done this, but instead you did this, but wouldn't it be better if you did, etc. I'm sure you get the point. And then at the very end, make sure that we've got lots of asynchronous videos showing them how to figure stuff out. I can't imagine the frustration of some parents now that I'm a learning coach as well. So make it easy. All of this stuff, when you're finished with your assignment, when students finish, they should be able to come here and say, boom, 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 this is how you do it. So there's no excuses, and hopefully no tears or frustration because I'm using too much tech or these assignments are too difficult for those kinds of reasons. All right, so I think I've talked about all 4 of the major things. I talked about what I want to do with an 8th grade math classroom, and like I say, I'm looking for collaborators. Right now, this is just me. I'm going to invite a couple other people and see what happens. I guess that's it.